Hey friends, welcome back.
Welcome to the vlog.
So, feel free to berate me in my comment section because it has been way too long. I haven't updated you guys on anything, mainly because not a whole lot has really been happening. My last update was after my challenging drive down south, got settled into quartzite, and to be honest, through most of the winter, didn't do a hell of a lot. Not on the interesting YouTube video, RVing, lifestyle, exploring different things side. It just didn't happen. To be honest, I got settled in the LTVA, and in case you're a first timer, that's the long-term visitors area, just a little south of quartzite. And I was parked there with some friends and basically just hung out and worked and kind of did some research on some other things that I'll touch on in a bit. But basically, I didn't really get out and do a hell of a lot. We went into Parker a couple of times. Roy and Linda, my friends that were there, took me up to a free concert by a fellow named Kelly Hughes. That was kind of interesting. More country than I'm up for, but you know, it was still fun. It was fun. But yeah, other than that, I didn't really do a hell of a lot. So what did I do? Well, I hunkered down and worked. As I was heading down last fall, I landed that new client out of the east coast of the US. Basically collector car based design stuff. They offer a platform for collector car dealerships, muscle car dealerships, that kind of thing, that's more geared towards vintage and classic cars. So they have this platform, and then they hire designers to actually do the design of the certain websites, and that's basically what I've been doing. So they're my main client right now. I do have a secondary client that I'm on call for basically 8 to 10 hours a week, and aside from them, my other client that I was doing kind of through the pandemic, that kind of thing, they've kind of fallen by the wayside. They don't apparently have work for me. So things are working out. The car guys out of the East Coast are keeping me busy. I did have a website rebuild for the other company that I'm basically only doing like 10 hours a week for. So that was kind of like this ongoing thing. I did put extra time in that will basically work out in the wash later on. That said, it was on a platform that I'm familiar with, but not totally an expert at. So it took me a little extra time doing some research and just figuring out how to build things the way that I wanted to build them and that kind of thing. So it was a bit of a time sink. So basically, that's pretty much all I did all winter. Designing websites, working on this other website where, you know, I'm in charge of like building the back end part, and just kind of did that. In my downtime, I turned on YouTube, and basically I've been doing research on crypto projects and kind of try and get my head wrapped around certain aspects of the crypto industry and that kind of thing, because we are technically in a bear market, which means if you're following the old adage of buy low, sell high, as far as like coins and stocks and that kind of thing, now is basically the time to kind of be looking at possibly buying. Because I'm making a little bit of money, not much, I'm slowly trying to kind of what they call dollar cost average in on a few coins to see if perhaps when things start taking off again, I can maybe make a little bit of money. If I do happen to get lucky and, you know, knock on wood, make a big chunk of money, then I can possibly look at just basically doing this full time, exploring more, doing more videos, and kind of putting all my eggs into that basket, as opposed to working day jobs and other gigs and that kind of thing where I'm tied to the computer inside the trailer for 5 days a week, 6 days a week. So yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. I haven't become an expert at anything as far as that goes. I'm not going to be sharing any kind of advice. If things go well and I feel confident in I know what I'm talking about, then maybe later on down the road I can elaborate on that a little bit. But right now I'm not about to advise anybody on anything, especially because, well, the proof's in the pudding and I don't have any pudding yet. So that's where I stand on that. And then, of course, being that I'm a creative, technical nerd, unless you've been living under a rock for the past 6 months, you've probably heard a few things, even on mainstream media, about AI. That kind of popped into my peripheral vision and I started going down that rabbit hole. But the funny thing is I kind of looked at it, I'm like, okay, well, this could be really sucky for creatives. Basically, you can type in a prompt now and create an image that looks like a photograph of pretty much anything that you want. Not to mention artwork. I've used a little bit of artwork on t-shirts already, just stuff like that. But anyways, created a bunch of images. I'll throw a few here. And I'll also note that the car images that are popping up here, I figured out a way to generate the prompts that I want, kind of get the images that I'm looking for. So then I punch in like a car year and brand and see what it gives me back. So those images that I'm creating via AI in Midjourney, I'm actually using some of those on my car designs that I'm doing for work because they're saving me a whole whack of time, searching stock websites all over the place for images that I'm probably not going to find, because most people that are taking professional high quality car images are not putting them on stock sites. You're going to get pictures of some cars from car shows, or some cars, some pictures of a guy's car, his personal car, whatever, and some of those will work. Yeah, that's basically what we've been doing up until now. But I figured out a way to basically pop it into Midjourney and request, like high quality professional photos, professional lighting on dark backgrounds or on a white background, and getting some car images that basically work for what I'm looking for, just as design aesthetic eye candy, basically. I'm not trying to sell these cars, like they're not real cars. We're not trying to manipulate that kind of thing. It's just basically a nice background image for the header or a slider where the text is over top and that kind of thing. So I'm basically trying to embrace the technology as much as I can to make my life easier, and to be honest, it's helping. So that's where I kind of stand on that whole AI thing. Yes, I've played around and generated some old rusty car pictures and kind of went, oh, not sure there's a reason for me to get out with my camera anymore, but it's the world we live in. Am I going to stop taking pictures? No. Now, once I have a little more time and can get out and explore some more, I'll definitely be continuing on with my photography, doing things just as I've been doing. It hasn't been making me a whole ton of money up until this point, so if it continues not to, things aren't changing. But if you are in the market for a genuine, authentic photograph of an old rusty car, then look me up. Links in the description, everything's there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I did while I was down in Quartzsite. And just basically worked, enjoyed the weather, played out in the desert with the dog. Rollins is fine. We did have a little issue back here. I'll get to where we are in a second, but basically we got here and then he got into something, I don't know what. Basically he caught a stomach bug somehow. Whether was some still water he might have drank or something else he got into, something dead, who knows, I don't know. But you know, I do let him free range. I let him be a dog. So he caught a bug. For a couple of days there, we had basically, you know, 2 exits, no waiting. Anything that he tried to ingest was just basically coming out either end in rapid fire succession. So he had a vet visit a couple days ago, and we got him on some meds. And to be honest, he's pretty much, I'd say with the inability to actually talk to him about it, he's probably at about 80-85% now. He's doing pretty well. He's holding food down, holding water down. He's eating, he's pooping. Things are pretty much back to normal. He went for a swim yesterday, that kind of thing. Things are good. Now, when I left Quartzsite, drove back up, there was kind of a caravan of us kind of leapfrogging each other on the way up. Roy and Linda were also coming back, and our other friends, Ralph and Peggy, were with us in their motorhome. And we stopped in Utah, just outside of St. George, for pretty much a week, I think. We were all monitoring the weather. There was like snow in Idaho still and that kind of thing. And so we were just kind of like waiting out weather and, you know, watching the roads and that kind of thing. Roy and Linda left first, and then Peggy and Ralph, they were going a different way up back into Alberta. And I decided I was going to come up into Creston to check out the theory that Roy and Linda told me about, that basically Creston's a little warmer in the spring than, say, Alberta. And, you know, I figured, hey, why not give that a try? And another reason was I'm hoping to kind of figure out a way to maybe blitz down to the Fraser Valley, like Chilliwack area where my grandfather is, and my grandma, she's in a home, not going to remember me visiting. She's got dementia and that kind of thing, but they're down there, and I'm going to try and get down there to see them for a little bit, even if it's a couple nights or whatever, and then, you know, I'll drive back. I've looked into possible rover profiles. Rover is basically house sitting and dog sitting for pets. There's a few down in, kind of in the Chilliwack area, because my grandpa's apartment, you can't bring the dog in. I'm not planning on taking the trailer because it's too expensive. So basically just kind of maybe load me and him up in the truck, go down there, get him settled at a, you know, like a stay over at somebody's house for 1 or 2 nights, visit my grandpa, visit some, you know, catch up with a couple of friends, visit grandma, turn around, come back. So that's a loose plan. But yeah, we left Quartzsite, got to St. George, hung out there for a bit, left there. Basically, I wasn't planning on driving the whole way, but then I was close enough where I'm like, well, if I can shave a day off of what my stay time will be in the fall, that's an extra day in the fall, so I can possibly leave a little earlier, so I'm not running into the stuff that I ran into last fall. I figured, okay, well, I'm close enough, I'm just gonna get to the border. So driving through the top half of Montana, it's springtime, it's dusk. I'm not an idiot. I've experienced this already. Deer everywhere. And sure enough, there's deer in the field. There's deer on that side of the road. There's deer over there. There's one up over there. There's 13 over there. There's deer, you know, so I'm taking it easy, probably doing like 10 under the speed limit, just kind of, you know, moseying along. Sure enough, I see 3 on the other side of the road. Like they're on the other side of the road. I'm coming up to them. I'm slowing down. Didn't even have my foot on the gas, basically just kind of like, you know, coasting. I see them. They're going by. They're pretty much out of my peripheral vision at this point. And all of a sudden, bang, smack, like what the? One of them decided that he's gonna try chancing it and jump through the gap between the back of the cab of my truck and the front of the fifth wheel trailer. Didn't turn out so well for him. So, as it's happening, of course I'm like freaking out and I'm looking and I see this deer in my mirror who is now bounced off the front of the trailer and is lying kind of like in the box of the truck, half in, half out. And I'm like literally looking at this deer in the mirror, the face of this deer hanging off the side of my truck. And I'm like trying to pull over and get off the road and this kind of thing. And I pull over, get off the road, come to a stop. And I'm looking in the mirror, just trying to catch my bearings and figure out what the hell to do. Like, is it alive? Is it dead? Is it gonna start kicking? Like, what's going on? And I'm watching, and literally 10 seconds, deer dies. There's some blood dripping out of its mouth down the side of my truck. And I'm just about to kind of get out and kind of assess the situation. And it's lifeless body at this point. This might be too graphic for people, I'm sorry. But yeah, basically it was like a movie. It just fell off the truck onto the pavement. And I'm like, what the hell? Now what do I do? Like, there's nobody around. There was, no offense, but there was deer carcasses everywhere because it's Montana. Utah and Montana don't seem to care. It happens so regularly that they just basically leave them. I'm on the side of the road. There's this deer. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't harvest it because I'm going across the border and there's some whole meat thing. I don't know how to harvest a deer. I'm not a hunter. So I had to leave it. And, you know, as bad as I do feel, about hitting it, you know, not a fan of killing anything. I also feel bad for just having to leave it. But what do you do? What do you, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to do. They say, some people say report it. The first deer I ever hit was in California after my first Burning Man. I freaked out and I was like, it totally took the front end off my Xterra pretty much. And I happened to catch a ride down to town. What was that, Baker, California or something? Just basically down the hill from Bodie State Park. And, you know, like I walked right into the sheriff's station. Well, actually we saw cops on the street first, but I'm like, yeah, I hit a deer up there. I don't know what the rules are or whatever. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. So, I mean, it probably is different from county to county or whatever. But yeah, I hit a deer and had to leave it. So that's what happened on my way home. And the irony and the kind of like the open shut of this whole winter's chapter is when I went to leave Brooks, Alberta last fall, the first thing that went wrong was the switch that lifts the legs of my trailer. Went on the fritz and we replaced it. Aside from the front damage on the trailer, which I'll put over top here, guess what else the deer kicked? The switch that lifts the legs of my trailer. So basically, my whole winter trip, my whole winter experience started with that switch and ended with that switch. Hopefully we're done. Hopefully we can all move on from this. But yeah, it was an adventure. I'll tell you that. So with that said, where am I and what the hell am I doing next? Well, I did come to Creston. It's been beautiful. The weather's been great. It's been warm. So warm, in fact, that I think the snow is melting off the mountains faster than usual. This river behind me, you probably hear a little bit of a kind of a white noise, but I'll show you the river. And this river is not usually this high. It wasn't even this high when we got here, but about 2 days after we got here, it warmed up. It was like 22, 24 degrees Celsius, nice and warm, nice and sunny. And since then, like, the river's risen. There's waterfall over here that's, you know, coming down pretty good. The ditches have water like flowing through them now. This area in behind me was dry. Now it's got like water coming in off the mountain over here. like kind of under the road and through and making its way to the river. So there is water. We're up on a bit of a rise, so it's not so bad. But this camping area in behind me, like there's a couple fire pits and stuff. Beautiful area, but it's starting to fill up with water, and the road in is like got water in it too. So could be an interesting May long weekend. Apparently it gets crazy up here for May long weekend. I expect that. I'll keep you posted. So here for a bit. Like I mentioned, I'm going to try and make it down to the valley. I have my friend Joan is here. If I were to go for a couple of days, she can keep an eye on the trailer, and you know, like I'll pack up the generator and stuff, put it inside, and she can kind of keep an eye on it. There'll probably be other people here by then. And yeah, I'll probably head down to the valley, catch up with some friends and family, and then come back. And then after that, to be honest, I still don't even know. I'm not even sure. Don't know what I'm doing. Quite possibly start making my way back to Alberta for, I do have some things that I want to get fixed on the trailer, work that I want to get done. Replace the one axle, but it's a little heftier and a little longer. So now I'm thinking, bite the bullet and replace the other one as well. And not so much because it needs to be replaced, but the fact of the matter is I got the one broken axle, I got the one fried axle replaced, and then I broke a leaf spring. So now underneath, there's one new axle and one new leaf spring, 3 old leaf springs and 1 old axle. Because the leaf spring was rare, like a rare size, the standard size for newer ones is like, I think 24¼ inch or 25¼ inch, I can't remember. But the ones on here are like 20 1/4 inches. So they were hard to find, but I did find some online and I ordered 4. So basically what I'm thinking of doing is taking it in somewhere, getting another axle to match the one that's on there, the new one. And while they're replacing that, basically dropping everything down, replacing all 4 leaf springs or all 3 leaf springs, plus the one that's already on there, have a backup for a spare. I can throw it in my toolbox in the back of the truck and have that. Basically all 4 leaf springs, both axles, get the bearings and brakes all checked and any work that needs to be done on those done. And that way when I go to leave on any sort of lengthy adventure, I don't have to worry as much. And now with the front end damage from the deer on the trailer, I'm going to see if there's possibly a place that has some strips of tin that will fit in there, and just get them to do like the 2 strips of the bottom section and then, you know, the piece that wraps underneath. And I mean, it doesn't even have to technically match the stripes and stuff of this trailer. Eventually I'd like to paint this trailer if I do keep it. Then there's little things like the storage door underneath. It's a little wonky, could be replaced because it's kind of, you know, been banged up, previous owner. And then like my battery compartment, I noticed that the wood piece that the batteries are sitting on, plus also because they're pretty heavy, eventually I'd like to replace them with lithium, but we're not there yet. It's starting to sag a bit, so I want to kind of brace that, fix that up. You know, there's a few little things on the outside, like just kind of like operationally that need to be fixed. And then I still have more renovations on the inside that I want to get done. So I'm thinking stay here for a bit, get settled, make some money, bank some, pay off a couple things, because I mean, just had a vet bill for the dog, and you know, just renewed my insurance. I'm not stuck, I'm not suffering, but it, you know, I'm not laying out $3,000 anytime soon either. So I got to work, save. I mean, I have 3 projects on the go. 2 of them are going to be paid probably within a week or 2. Probably just going to concentrate on getting my ducks in a row and getting ready for the next kind of chapter of adventuring, whether that starts later this spring or later in the summer or next fall when we go down. But like the website I was talking about earlier, that is pretty much done. We're launching it this week. Fingers crossed. I got to add the users, like the staff users in and that kind of thing. And you know, there's a bit of work there, but then it's done. I should hopefully be able to at least get out and do some exploring a little bit, take some pictures, kind of get back into that groove again. Because like I said earlier, none of that this winter. I just basically just hunkered down and worked. So I'm losing my sunlight to a hefty bunch of clouds coming in. It is supposed to get kind of dark and dreary and a little chilly for the next few days. So be hunkered down editing this and, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm still trying to do this. I thank you for sticking around if you came back and checked this out to see how I'm doing. I did have a couple people reach out and make sure I'm alive, and I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate everybody watching. It's just been one of those winters. Just kind of gotta deal with the life part, and yeah, then we'll get back to a little more fun hopefully soon. So on that note, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you all soon. Okay, bye. What are you doing?